Good morning, America, patriots, friends. How are you doing today? It's Mike Cook coming to you live from Central Missouri, God's country. If you're not living in this neck of the woods, I feel sorry for you. I grew up in Southern California. It's a great place to be from, let me tell you. Hey, have you heard that California is a cereal state? You heard that? A cereal state, for real. That's what it's called. That's because it's full of fruits, nuts, and flakes. Anyways, moving on. Thought I'd open with a joke today. We need some jokes around here lately, don't we? The whole thing's a joke. Oh. How are you guys doing today? Everything seems to be moving along as planned. As I told you in some of my previous videos, the deep state, the Democrats, the Marxist revolutionaries, what do you want to call them, have a plan. They have this figured out. It's called the Transition Integrity Project. Look it up. Mind you that if you look it up, it's been edited from when I first printed it out. Just saying. In that plan, the idea was to have a contentious election. We have that. The idea was for the media to declare Biden the winner. We have that. Even force it if they can. Then in the process, this is where it gets a little muddy on which things happen next. Donald Trump has to not concede. He has to say, I won't step down. And he's done that. The media has to start censoring Donald Trump and his administration. We'll go over that in a minute. And well-known high-level Republican operatives have to start bailing on Trump. We'll go over that in a minute. This was supposed to progress, according to their own words, in a few days. Well, thanks to our founding fathers, our government does nothing in a few days. It takes a little bit of time to get things done. So what do we have? What do we know today? What's happened yesterday? I told you, get ready. This week was going to be interesting. Things were going to start happening. So what had happened? Well, AG Barr authorizes the DOJ to probe voter fraud. Several things were brought before, arguments were made before the Supreme Court. Nothing. There's been nothing about what the Supreme Court has said or anything. That was behind closed doors. So there's been some arguments brought before the Supreme Court. Real Clear Politics pulled back Pennsylvania and Arizona. That means that Real Clear Politics is the leader in polling, basically. The Real Clear Politics average polls, where they take all the polls, except for the ones they don't like, the ones they're usually right, and they pile them together and then give you an average. Okay? These are the polls that the media go to first. Well, they've pulled back in Pennsylvania and Arizona. Now, they haven't come right out and said that Joe Biden is no longer presidential-elect. They've just pulled back those states, which means Joe Biden is no longer president-elect because he doesn't have 270 votes, which he doesn't right now, let me tell you, right now, it is tied between Joe Biden and Donald Trump at 0-0. There's been no vote. No electors have been seated. So right now, as we speak, it's 0-0. Let me make that clear, okay? Fox News dumped Kellyanne Conway's the press secretary for the President of the United States of America. They dumped her press conference when she started talking about all of the evidence, the clear evidence that there's been a lot of cheating and fraud going on and that we need to get to the bottom of it. They dumped, and then there was Brett Baier, whatever his name is, he started going, oh, that's untrue and unfounded. You can't prove it. Oh, you can't prove it. You can't prove it. We didn't say it. Fox News didn't say it, so it ain't so. My friends, it's not Fox News' job to dump the press secretary, the President of the United States, because they don't like what she said. It's their job, as I recall, when they got all of us hooked to watching them, something fair and balanced. We report, you decide. Whatever happened to that, Mr. Bear? I guess we're not into report and you decide anymore. Now we're into you will do what we tell you to do, and you will believe what we tell you to believe. I got news for you. When this is all said and done, there may not be a Fox News. Now, something of great significance happened. It didn't get much play in the media, but it caught my attention. It caught the attention of some people I talked to. There's a lot of speculation on what this means, and I'm not going to get into the speculation because I don't have a clue. But the President of the United States fired the Secretary of Defense. That's huge. It's huge for several reasons. One, during the summer when the riots were going on and it was out of control in D.C., I mean out of control, they were talking about storming the White House, Donald Trump toyed with the idea, mentioned the idea of the Insurrection Act. And the media was like, Insurrection Act, Insurrection Act, yay, yay, Insurrection Act, Insurrection Act. Why was the media? I mean, CNN, is it going to do the Insurrection Act? They were mockingbirding it. It was Insurrection Act, Insurrection Act, Insurrection Act, Insurrection Act. It's like one of them old sing-along movies, Insurrection Act, Insurrection Act. They were all excited. Then the Secretary of Defense came out and said, if you invoke the Insurrection Act, the military will not follow you. Now, let me tell you what that says. This is a coup attempt on the United States of America. This is the third one. The first one was Russia. The second one was impeachment. And now it's this. The Insurrection Act says that the president, during a coup attempt, can call out the military and stop it, among other things. What do you think an insurrection is? But the Secretary of Defense saying, and several other generals, retired and active, saying that the military won't follow, is saying that they chose sides, my friends, with the coup. If he had invoked the Insurrection Act then and the military didn't go, that would have been the end of the president, and that would have been the end of America. The ramifications of that would have been far and wide. That's why he didn't. That's why that did not happen. So this is very important, because why would a president who is not being reelected fire the Secretary of Defense less than 90 days before he steps out of office? What difference does that make? I mean, he's on his way out. We're at a time of peace. Why fire the Secretary of Defense? Inquiring minds want to know. That is the information that we have right now. That's what's going on. That's what's happening. New things I'm sure will come out today. New things we'll start getting probably today or tomorrow. We'll start hearing from the Supreme Court. Several other things are liable to happen. Things are kind of lining up. You've got a whole bunch of lawsuits at the lower level courts. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of them. The media is saying, oh, it's just 1 or 2 votes here and 10 votes over there. There's not enough to make a difference. Well, just in one instance alone, there was 139,000 votes that showed up in the dark of night for Biden. I think I was in Michigan. There's only like a 30,000 point lead. So you throw those votes out, Trump wins. I mean, just in that one alone. So the media is not being honest. Of course, they have chosen sides also. Understand what I'm saying? There is an active coup going on to take over the United States of America right now. And we got these Republicans that are standing up and saying, oh, Donald Trump should just accept the inevitable and step down. You know, Marco Rubio, Mitt Romney, Chris Christie, Roy Blunt. And, you know, those are the bigger names. There's a bunch of smaller names. Right now, these Republicans are going, oh. But at the same time, in the same breath, with the same mouth, they're saying we have to fight in Georgia because we can't lose the Senate. If we lose the Senate, then all is lost. And in order to fight in Georgia, you know what they want you to do, my friends? And they don't want you to get on Facebook and talk, because talking's not going to solve anything. No. What we really need you to do is open up those pocketbooks and write a check to the Anointed TV screen. I mean, we need to write you a check to the RNC so we can buy television advertising from our friends in the media. You hear what I'm saying to you? Do you get what I'm laying down? These Marco Rubio, Romney, Chris Christie, Blunt, and the hodgepodge of other so-called Americans, Republicans, rhinos, deep state operatives, they want you to give your hard-earned money so they can fight for you. We love America so much. We just have to give in and let Joe Biden be president. We'll get it back. We promise. In 2022, we'll win the House. Yes, we will. We promise. Are you not sick and tired of hearing that? Are you not sick and tired of these limp-wrist, yelly-belly, weak-kneed Republicans who are unwilling to stand up and fight for a single thing? If we don't fight now, when do we fight? If we don't stand up, there's not going to be anything to stand up to. They're going to go through and clean freaking house. There won't be a Republican Party except for one or two guys like they have out in California, just for the fun of it, someone to laugh at. AOC wants to make a list of Republicans and supporters like me and you so we can be corrected. Let me tell you, AOC. Let me tell you, Nancy Pelosi. My name is Michael A. Cook. I live in Sedalia. My business is on Main Street. Come get me. Make your stinking list. I hope I'm on it. If I ain't on it, I'm damn sure going to try to get on it. Tell you right now. I need to calm down and bring this back around to where I wanted to go. Sometimes I get off on a little bit of a tangent here. Let me have a cup of coffee. Hey, if you got a cup, take a sip for me too, okay? I want to talk a little bit about if you go back and watch some of my videos, I've talked about the prophecies that I found even before Donald Trump was president. They all kind of lined up the same. I was talking with a friend of mine. I think I mentioned this yesterday. I don't remember. I was talking with a friend of mine at church, and she's a good, sweet Christian lady. And she said she's never seen all the people that she's followed lined up on one accord like she's seen today. Like, and the rumbling in the stomach. How many of you, give me a show of hands, how many of you who are spiritually minded have a rumbling in their stomach right now, have an intensity, something there, something tells you just an uneasiness, a butterfly. I don't know how to describe it. If you're out there, let me know, because I sure do. So anyways, if you talked about, they are all lining up. These different preachers from all these different places were saying, Donald Trump is going to be my trumpet. That's what they're saying. And they're saying that he would be in the vein of Cyrus, that he would be such a time as this. Well, such a time as this is talking, and I've talked about this before, is talking about Esther. And in the story of Esther, at the end of the story of Esther, the bad guys get their comeuppance like that. I mean, like that, they were hanging on their own gallows. They were sprung. The trap was sprung in reverse and caught them in their own trap. So let me tell you, Babylon was the largest, greatest empire at that time. It stretched from India all the way up to the Baltic Sea, all the way down through Egypt to Cush. That was the known world at the time. King Nebuchadnezzar conquered everything. And God dealt with him personally, even though he was not one of God's people. That's a story for another video sometime. But his son, Belshazzar, or whatever his name, why can't they name these people John? Anyways, we'll call him Bel. The son, Nebuchadnezzar, is gone. I imagine he's dead. The son's now in charge of Babylon. He goes into the storeroom, pulls out the ornate goblets and cups, silver cups, and ceremonial tools that were taken out of the temple when it was destroyed when Nebuchadnezzar conquered Jerusalem. You guys hear the train going by? I'm right on the railroad tracks of my business. So he conquered Jerusalem. They take those cups and he's drinking them. Oh, yeah, we're partying. Woo, he's having a big party, all his nobles, and it's been going on for days, and we're having a good time, and he's drinking out of these ceremonial cups. Suddenly, a hand appears, and it writes on the wall. And he doesn't know how to interpret it, doesn't know what it means. He's quaking his boot. The Bible says that his knees knocked and he soiled himself. It scared the crap out of him. He called everybody. He said, "Can you interpret what it wrote?" Nobody could do it. And then his mom whispered in his ear, his mom, who was married to Nebuchadnezzar, said, "Hey, your daddy had this guy Daniel interpret dreams for him. Go get him." You know, Daniel from the book of Daniel, the prophecy guy. Yeah. So he comes in. The king says, "I'll give you everything up to half my kingdom. I'll put a robe on you. You'll be the richest dude around." Daniel said, "I'm sorry there, king, but you don't have a kingdom to give me. Because what that writing on the wall says is you've been weighed and you've been found wanting. And this kingdom of yours could be taken away tonight." And that very night, without a shot fired, Persia conquered Babylon. The water levels, Babylon was surrounded by two rivers, and you couldn't cross them, but the water levels of the river dropped and the Persian armies moved in, and there were some traders. History says there were some traders in there, and they opened the gates. And the people came in, and Cyrus, the king of Persia, took over Babylon without a shot fired. And the empire changed just like that. God can do it in an instant. He can change empires in an instant. Now, who is Cyrus? This is his own writings. They found these, they write it on these round things. I don't know. But anyways, they found, he bragged about himself, and he said that he has a great understanding of financial things, in building things, and paying people. In the vein of Cyrus. He lifted the common man's life. He helped them rebuild their dwellings. He gave them more to eat. But here's the kicker. He brought peace to Israel. He restored Jerusalem and made it the capital of Israel again. Mind you, for 70 years after King Nebuchadnezzar conquered Israel, burnt the whole city of Jerusalem to the ground, destroyed the temple, and knocked the walls down, King Cyrus takes over Babylon in an instant and then returns Israel to its place, restores Jerusalem as the capital, helps to build the wall around Jerusalem, and helps to build the second temple, the temple that was destroyed by Rome after the death and resurrection of Christ. You take a look at Israel. You take a look at the Abraham Accords, all the countries that were at war with Israel that are signing peace with Israel, bring peace back to Israel, made Jerusalem the capital. Hello. The guy's building some walls in some places. He's a wall builder. There ain't no temple yet, but it ain't over, is it? "2020, the year the conspiracy theory became reality, is also the year that everything will be made known." Eyes will be opened in the next few days that have been shut wide open. The veil is going to be removed from people who have not the understanding because it was not for them to understand. But before this happens, it's going to get a lot rougher. Will Trump declare an insurrection? Will military tanks be in the streets? I don't know. I'm prepared for anything to happen. I'm prepared all the way to the point in my mind that our foreign adversaries might try to take advantage of the chaos. I don't know. But I do know that time and time again in the histories of this world, God has changed it in an instant. He has fixed the problem, whether it was in Esther with Haman hanging on his own gallows in the last minute, whether it was Nebuchadnezzar and Babylon and his son and wanting, or whether it was Pharaoh that was covered in the flood of the water that God parted. Think about that. That was the whole administration of that nation. That nation was he destroyed that nation at that time in an instant. In an instant. Be prepared for something to happen so quickly. Be prepared for something to happen that they will talk about for the next 1,000 years. Be prepared for media to completely change. Hollywood to completely change. Be prepared for sports to completely change. And be prepared for politics to be something you've never seen before. Have faith, my friends. It's going to be fun. Enjoy the ride. Get out the popcorn. You might get some shelf-stable food while you're at it, as I don't know what's coming. But it's going to be interesting. You guys have a great day. Share this video. Let your friends have some hope too. And I'll catch you as soon as I got some more info. Talk to y'all later.